generation, two Prose bros are born, chosen to watch every episode of Buffy and tell you what they think about them. This is the Prose Bros Visit Sunnydale.
Welcome to another edition of the Prose Bros Visit Sunnydale.
Sunnydale.
Yeah. Hype man. Eddie Cruz in the house.
I am just like Flavor Flav, minus the blackness and the big watch.
Yeah. Clock.
It's clock.
It's clock.
Other than that, I have the same drug habits and everything.
So we're on season 1, episode 4, Teacher's Pet.
Teacher's Pet. And that is, I don't know. I've never tried to eat or fuck any of my pets. Have you?
No.
I've definitely not tried to fuck and then eat any of my pets.
Is that what's happening in this episode?
Right? The teacher tries to fuck and then eat. Did she eat their heads or just cut them off?
Well, it's a praying mantis, so they mate and they kill.
Well, yeah, but the praying mantis, I always heard, cut off the head and like with their mouth and ate it, like ate the male's head.
I don't know.
But then just cut it off and leave it on the ground. It was like nutrition for my new baby.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
I have no idea.
Should we get into the summary?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So Wolverine is stalking Sunnydale. All right, just kidding. We open with a Xander dream, and this is the first episode to have anything before the main title. Xander pictures himself saving Buffy's life and then going on stage and riffing some mad licks on a BF Goodrich guitar.
LeBron's just fucking soloing away like a
Killing
motherfucker.
it, dude. And then he wakes up and realizes that none of that happened. And
by the way, another dream.
A
huge motif
maybe
theme in the series.
A prophetic dream, because Buffy has the important like prophecy dreams. Xander's just having a wet dream about Buffy.
He has the horny teenage dream.
Yeah, he's just having a dream where he can play guitar and wants to have Buffy play guitar with him or play with his guitar or neck. So he has a dream. He wakes up, goes to school. Buffy encounters the first person to be nice to her and die, which is her science teacher.
Dr. Gregory,
who has glasses on. And as soon as he's nice to her, she leaves the room and he is strangled from what it seemed. But a praying mantis arm comes around his head and cuts it off. We don't really see that because they didn't have the budget to do that. But
a praying mantis arm hugs
his head,
Dr. Gregory's neck.
And he screams. And then later we come back and find out that he's dead. Cordelia finds his body, and he has a substitute teacher who's super hot, Natalie French.
So everybody in the show perceives her to be hot.
Did you find her attractive?
Not at all.
Not at all. I thought she was really creepy looking.
Dude, I'm still this whole season digging Cordelia.
I mean, of course you are. She's gorgeous, and she's your age now. She's now, like, you are the same age as she is now.
So it's not me being creepy.
No.
Because she's like 30.
When we were younger, we liked Willow and Buffy because they were our age group.
Never liked Willow.
Oh, really? I was super into Willow. But at the same time, I wasn't really into Cordelia back then. And now I'm like, she's age appropriate.
All right, so also, Cordelia finds...
While wearing an age-appropriate outfit on top of that, Cordelia finds the dead professor. He's replaced by a substitute teacher. And Xander immediately takes a liking to her. She immediately takes a liking to Xander and his high school rival. The high school rival goes over to her house to study, I guess. Study. I'm doing air parentheses. And he disappears.
Well, air quotes.
Air quotes.
Air parentheses is weirder. But,
air quotes. Well, I can't really quote something in the air. So I guess they are air parentheses, right?
Sure. All right.
I don't know.
I'll concede.
I'm making imaginary parentheses that mean I'm quoting something that's not really being quoted. Man, this episode's going great. All right, so Xander goes up to her and she invites him to her house. Buffy tells him that she's a gigantic insect. He doesn't believe her. Giles acts really creepy. He also finds her attractive. Xander goes over to her house. She puts him in a cage. The other boy is there too. And the other boy tells him that she's going to fuck him and then cut off his head or eat his head. Buffy comes in, saves the day with bat sonar because she studied, because the first professor got her to actually care about school, even though she had only really talked to him for about 5 minutes after one class.
She finally did her fucking homework.
She finally did her homework, and that's why she was able to defeat the praying mantis and eventually puts this bat sonar on and cuts it up with a machete, and we get the last shot revealed to be a twist where there's other praying mantis eggs hatching under her desk.
Well, that's super important to the rest of the series.
Absolutely. I mean, the praying mantis is a big part of season 5.
No, it's not.
It's absolutely not at all.
Never comes back again.
Never comes back again. They don't touch it. There's no reason to. And that egg was empty when I saw it open up because the lighting on the show gave away too much. So yeah, that was the episode. Geoff, what do you think about this episode?
I liked it a lot better than the last one, The Witch.
Which episode? There was a lot more levity in this episode. There's a lot more Joss Whedon that comes through, a lot more character development, I think.
Anytime you put Xander in the forefront, particularly in the early seasons, that's gold. And I think this was the first one where it's like, let's put Xander in. Initially, let's have him have this weird sexual dream where he's this rock star and have him kind of guide the episode. That's awesome. And he was amazing in it. Nicholas Brennan did great.
I completely agree. I think all the Xander episodes are some of my favorite episodes. And this one was a lot better than the Witch episode. The third episode just seemed to still be, I don't know, it seemed like it was still trying to do some exposition. And because of that, it lacked the Joss Whedon signature on it.
Yeah, it didn't have his sense of humor. And this episode, you can tell it does.
I mean, it starts with a sense of humor, which is just basically, the kid that couldn't get a girl in high school having a wet dream about being the rock star, the badass, the guy in the leather jacket that the Angel actually is. And Angel comes out and he is still douchey as all hell. He still sucks. He's not really sure what the character is, I feel like.
So let's talk about Angel, but I think what's important here is we're continuing the storyline that Xander has a crush on Buffy.
Absolutely,
and it's clearly going nowhere. You already see you see that, and then you see it's almost like a cameo of Angel. He's there for a split second in a new outfit, by the way.
He's there about as long as he was on Married with Children.
Yes.
And the velvet coat, the velvet purple coat.
Oh, that's gone. That's gone.
And thank God, right?
Wife beater and fucking leather jacket all day, every day.
All day, every day. The wife beater becomes a staple of his wardrobe.
Yeah, that becomes Angel's look.
Yeah, just like until like season 5 of Angel, where they're like, yeah, he can't pull that off anymore. They're like, you're about 45 and you got dad bod even though you don't have any kids. I'm not sure if he has any kids, so I might be wrong. He might have a dad bod for a reason later in the seasons. But in this episode, still douchey, still smirks. That's the whole thing, is it? David Boreanaz can't smile without looking like a douchebag. That's why Angel is such a good character for him.
Yeah, and he's not the broody character yet.
No, not at all. But
he's a smirky son of a bitch.
Bones or Valentine, which is a horror movie he did after this, whenever he smiles, he looks like a complete douchebag. Or like he's trying to be funny. Like a really pretty douchebag trying to be funny.
Maybe that's why he got the part. Because Angelus.
There you go. All right.
That's in the future.
People.
In the future.
Well, technically it's in the past, right?
Past future?
The past future of this show. Whatever. Anyway, what were your favorite things about this show, or about this episode?
Definitely the Xander parts.
Right on.
So that was kind of like the key to this episode.
And to many in the future, which is just basically we all feel more akin to Xander, right?
Yeah, he's like the geek version of Everyman, right?
Yeah, like mostly in high school you don't get the girl you want.
If you were like a quote loser, if you weren't cool, Xander, that's Xander.
Yeah.
You were Xander.
And also not like nerdy, not smart. You had no particular talent or like heightened sense of any kind of one activity. You weren't you weren't great at the clarinet, because you can still be nerdy in high school, right? And be good at something. But Xander is that everyman that was bad at everything in high school.
Yeah, he is not. He doesn't have any particular talents.
No, none at all. And that comes
He's funny.
That's a theme throughout the entire show, which is just basically Xander never really found his calling.
So you've brought up previously Slayer inconsistencies.
Absolutely, man. She goes from being able to like bench press a tractor in the later seasons, but in the first seasons it's like the witch in the last episode tackled her. It's really, really ridiculous.
One thing I noticed in particular this season, this episode, Slayers have heightened senses, right?
Mm-hmm. But she doesn't smell that bum that was there for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, and never showed up again.
No, even though Wolverine did show up again. I call this vampire Wolverine because he has three metal claws the way Wolverine does in one arm. And he can also sniff out the praying mantis, which is something Wolverine would do.
That's so weird, by the way. Like, what if vampires really have gimmicks later on? I mean, we won't get too much, but
Spike and Angel.
But no, like,
and the Master.
No, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a prop gimmick.
That was totally a prop gimmick. That's like this. That's the dumbest thing in the world. I mean, it's on par with like Freddy Krueger. There's a couple times Freddy Krueger uses his glove to kill people, but if you actually tally up how many times the glove comes into play, you're like, why is he even wearing that? You know?
It looks cool, man.
It looks really cool. Super,
just like Wolvie Vamp.
And it makes this weird noise that it wouldn't make if you just open it. It's all shing, like like it wouldn't do that. That's not a noise that air makes when metal goes through it.
Another thing I've noticed, it's just kind of, just because we're watching the show, I'm starting to pick up more and more 90s fashion.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking horrible. Like there's Zach Morris's all over the place. Just all over the place. Not everybody, just victims.
And I told you earlier that, I'm tallying up the deaths. Maybe I should tally up the hair clips in all the girls. I really think you should.
I think that we should tally up the hair clips between this season and season maybe 3 or 4.
I think it's done by season 4 because that's not the fashion anymore.
It's over. Like Buffy's hair all of a sudden she cuts it, right? No, that's season 7 actually, where she comes back and her haircut.
6, but we're jumping way
too far. Yeah. Way too far. We're going too far away. There's no hair clips later on, but we should tally up the hair clips for this season, I think. I think it'd be a fun thing to do.
Yeah, let's do some hair clips. Another thing I noticed, super 90s, you get to see Xander throw his backpack over his shoulder. The one shoulder, because in the 90s, you don't have...
If you use both shoulders, you were F word that I don't use anymore.
Like let's say the Eminem F word.
But yeah, Jansport. Good backpack. I would say that if you didn't have a Jansport and an Eastpak, like you are definitely not cool. Like you can't be sporting no Kmart backpack in high school. You get beat up, especially if you use both sides, man. Or you got that one kid that has that one that has the wheels on it. And you're like, oh man, that kid's gonna have a rough 4 years.
Can we talk more about Buffy and less about Jansport? I have a question for you.
Okay.
About the plot.
Okay.
Do you think this is something that the storyline would be in stories today? About the teacher who is hitting on the younger student. It's I would say it's timeless, but everything now with everybody, all these teachers and getting impregnated by students, is that something?
I think at that point, the whole thing is that while that was going on, people kept on criticizing the police department for like high-fiving like the student. It was like that it wasn't a problem back then because it was this like misogynistic weird kind of reaction to having sex with your teacher, which was like, oh man, she's hot, so yeah, dude, I totally bang her or whatever. And I think now we've gone through enough where it's like, oh no, like there are predatory teachers and that's not funny. She probably ruined this kid's life, both in messing with his sexual like ambitions and also impregnating herself with a 16-year-old kid. It's just sad.
And I think way back when we watched the show, it was a different time. And even before that, it's like reminiscent of like Hot for Teacher. It's like,
yeah, there's like this whole like 80s thing going into the 90s where it's like, yeah, dude, fuck your teacher. That'd be badass, bro.
So it's not even that bro-y. Like, yeah, like it's just this like attraction
to a teacher.
Yeah.
Were you ever attracted to any of your teachers?
No, I'm just saying it's like that idea of like, oh, like an older woman.
Oh yeah, but yeah, it's very, very strange. I don't know, man. And they were so obviously like into it. The other guy came up to Xander and was immediately like, yeah, I'm gonna go over to her house and fuck her later and you get my sloppy seconds. He didn't say those things, but that's what he implied. And it was okay back then to say stuff like that. And I guess not okay, but it was socially acceptable. I think that's really, this show really grounds itself in the 90s, I think, through the fashion and through the social norms and everything like that. I'm not really sure what I think about it.
Well, what else could they do? That's the time that they were making the show, so
yeah,
it's appropriate. Or, I don't know if appropriate, but it has more levity back then than it would now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So do you want to hear who died this episode?
Absolutely, man. I have an idea, but there were too many like on-off screen, back and forth, going crazy.
There's some wacky ones.
Wolverine died, that's for sure.
Well, Wolverine didn't die.
Oh.
He ran away.
No, in my head, Wolverine's dead this episode because he had a gimmick, and I don't like gimmicks.
Gimmicks die. No. So there was one human who died, Dr. Gregory.
Mm-hmm.
There was a demon-ish, praying mantis.
All right.
Teacher who died. And this one's up for discussion. There was a vampire that died, but in a dream.
A dream vampire guy.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I have a theory about this because I was watching that and I was like, did he actually die? And I say no. Not even in the dream. I think Xander, as cool as he thought he was in that dream, missed that vampire's heart because he didn't get dusted in that dream, and dusting was established in episode 2.
I would say this. If he's cool enough to save Buffy and Solo like he did, he would not miss a vampire's heart.
Or is the whole dream mocking him and being like, this is all bullshit?
I don't think so, man. You think it's mocking him? That dream was not mocking
His
him.
subconscious knows he's a total tool.
He's not a tool.
Well, that's because we associate ourselves with him.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Maybe I'm wrong. Whatever. I'm going to say that that's not a death. What do you think? I mean, you're the rule. You're the judgment.
It's clearly a death. Does it matter for the series? No. I don't know.
That's not an answer, Jeffrey.
Then I'm going to say, yes, it's a fucking death.
Fuck, I knew you'd come back and throw that in my face.